Not long now until the MLS is back tournament kicks off in Florida. Jeff Carlisle and Stefano Fusaro have gone inside the bubble. They've written an article about it. You can check it out over on the website. Well, Stefano is with us now. Also is Herculez Gomez. Stefano, I want to start with you first. What's the latest?
Well, unfortunately, we had another positive test confirmed this morning, and that is for the Columbus crew. Now, the entire traveling party of the Columbus crew received testing this morning, and now they are quarantined until they receive those tests later tonight. And look, there is a lot of concern from players that are already embedded in this bubble, and we spoke to Minnesota United goalkeeper Tyler Miller, who kind of expressed some of that concern.
It's been challenging, to be honest. There's a lot of uncertainty. Every day we wake up and we're not sure what's going to happen. We don't know whether there's going to be a case on our team. There's going to be other cases on people that we've been in contact with. So trying to manage that mentally, I think it is very challenging for a lot of guys that I've spoken to from around the league here. So we're really just trying to be as safe as we can here. But at the same time, we understand that we're in this secluded environment that is supposed to be safe for us, but now there are a handful of cases here and there's only 6 or 7 teams here, so we're really unsure what's going to happen when all 26 teams do get here and we actually have every single person in MLS here.
Now, uncertainty is the word, the key word there that he mentioned. Now, we're up to 10 players that have tested positive and 1 coach, and that's in between FC Dallas and the Columbus crew. But I will give MLS credit where credit is due. They are being pretty transparent with the data of these tests and all the tests that are happening here inside the bubble every other day with a release and showing us that data. So they are being transparent, but still, we're seeing the issue so early on, and it is concerning.
Herculez Gomez with us as well. Look, this is a very fluid situation. You know, MLS are trying to work this out as it goes. I know they've taken a beating from a lot of people over the last few days. But to be fair, they weren't really to know that this was going to happen.
No. Yes and no. I mean, no, because you can't predict this type of thing, but you're also going into an epicenter of what is this virus in the United States. You know, it's not the most controlled environment in Florida, yet alone in Orlando. This is why these teams, these Major League Soccer teams who are not there right now, are delaying their departures to get into Orlando. Greg Vanney himself said he expected more of a controlled environment, and that's why they want to control what they can right now in Toronto. It's a scary situation no matter how you slice it. These players, Tyler Miller talked about the uncertainty, and I thought he spoke very well. A lot of these players are uncertain about their situations within their own teams, let alone other teams. I mean, these teams, these players, they travel together, they dine together, they train together, and they also share a weight room with 2 other Major League Soccer teams. You're bound to come in contact with other players from other teams. The uncertainty of it all is a scary thing, and I understand Major League Soccer is taking a beating, and they're doing the proper testing. They're going to be tested every single day, these players who have been exposed, testing every other day for the ones who don't come up positive. So it is a very fluid situation, but it is what it is at this point, and we can't ignore that they're in an epicenter of what is this virus.
Are we anywhere near MLS addressing maybe looking to reschedule this tournament, Stefano?
From everything I've been told, the MLS is moving forward with this tournament. There are no discussions to cancel it or to postpone it as of now. But we know that that's very fluid, and really the data is what's going to determine whether that's the next step or not.
It seems to be, meanwhile, Herc, and I know you put this out on Twitter, if you earn enough money in MLS, you're going to find any excuse not to go to this tournament.
Yeah, and it's complicated. I think you're alluding to Carlos Vela. Listen, there are 2 reasons you can opt out of this tournament. One is a medical exemption if you have a pre-existing medical condition. The other is if your partner is pregnant, which Carlos Vela's partner is pregnant pretty far along, so that falls into that category. But if you're Carlos Vela, who, by the way, opted not to play in a World Cup for Mexico for different reasons, but if you gave up a World Cup and that wasn't maybe important to you, you didn't want to do it, and your wife is pregnant, and you've banked over $15 million in 2.5 seasons, 2 seasons because you've had 2 weeks this season, what incentive do you really have to go? Most players don't have that luxury. Most players don't collect the check that Carlos Vela collects. They almost feel like they have to go or they will be docked pay. it is what it is. It's Major League Soccer. It's a very strange situation where you have a guy who's making $6.5 million play with a guy who's making $74,000. It's a very difficult situation for these players, but it almost seems like certain players have the luxury of deciding if they want to or not.
Would you go, Herc?
If my wife was pregnant, no, I probably would not go. It's a 5-6 week tournament, 35 days, I believe. I don't think you get as much out of it if you're a player like Carlos Vela than what you could potentially lose. Other players don't have that luxury. There are different, I guess, ends of the spectrum in this Major League Soccer bubble, and I'm talking about in general in the league and the player and the pay scale. It's a luxurious choice one can make. I wouldn't have gone.
Stefano, obviously teams, just give us what's going to happen over the next 48, 72 hours. More teams will be arriving.
Yeah, more teams will be arriving, and that's exactly what Tyler Miller was alluding to in that soundbite just a few minutes ago, that this is only happening with 6 or 7 teams here. We just saw the New England Revolution arrive a few minutes after that interview. It's going to continue, and that's what the uncertainty is about, right? Nobody is sure whether these tests will be stopped here, but you have so many people coming from the outside in the next 48, 72 hours that's the biggest uncertainty and concern. Will they get here, and when they get here, will they test positive? And I think that it's almost like if they test positive right off the bat when they arrive here, they can be immediately quarantined. They have to quarantine anyway when they arrive for 12 hours until those test results come back. And that's almost more positive than having somebody test positive on their second or third COVID test while they're here in the bubble. And that's kind of what they're looking out for.
Changing gears slightly, Herc, we saw Jurgen Damm announce his latest addition to the Atlanta United squad. His dancing was quite interesting. Is that a good word to use? He looked very happy.
That is a very good word to use. He's a very interesting player, interesting person. Listen, in Jurgen Damm, you get a player with tons of personality. He's an hilarious kid, but he's also a pretty good player. Oftentimes, the criticism with Jurgen Damm is that end product. In his time, he was the most expensive in-house transfer in what is Liga MX, over $10 million for his services from Pachuca to Tigres. He's a player that has a ton of pace, very good controlling the ball into said space, taking advantage of open space, but it's that end product. That service into the forward, that decision-making in the final third, that it's always eluded him. But he's a very, very interesting player. This kid's fast. He's electric. In his time, I believe there was only one other player more fast than him, or faster than him, I should say, in what is all of the soccer in the world in FIFA, and that was Gareth Bale. He's one of the fastest players you will ever see, but it's about what he does with that speed in the final third that'll really dictate how this goes for him in Atlanta.
But he won't be going to Orlando, no, Herc?
No, not. He doesn't have the visa clearance as of yet. He will be available. I believe from what he has said, he will train within a reserve system until then, and then he will be made available after this tournament, as most international transfers coming in, like Gonzalez Perez, who is now with Miami.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.